what is going on in that direction. A lot of people are wondering, like, okay, what exactly are we going to see with Sylvanas? And I don't know. I don't know the future. There are still so many paths that they can take. The most boring one, and I think that's a storyline that everybody dreads, would be Siege of Orgrimmar 2.0, right? I think nobody would be very happy to do that. But there are other paths that they can take. There is, for example, the idea that her motivation is false, and that was actually the old gods messing about with her, showing her fake hell. Maybe even a Valkyrie in on that. There is the possibility of she realizes that there's something worth dying for in this world. What the hell is Navanos' true mission that he's trying to accomplish in Nazjatar? What is he looking for, right? There are a whole lot of scenarios in which they could take Sylvanas. And I really, really, really hope that they do her justice. It's going to be difficult. And then when it comes to... say that we do indeed take her out as a war chief, and I imagine that Sylvanas does not stay on as war chief. I would be very surprised if that's what happens. Some already asked, like, who would I like to see as the next war chief? I wouldn't mind Vol'jin coming back to life, man. I would love to see Vol'jin come back to life and be like, hello, I'm gonna try better now. I'd be down for that. And if that's not the case, then I would just say, like, a council or something like that. Yeah. Sylvanas is a kind of natural last boss of Battle for Azeroth, though. Maybe. But it would be so boring. Zappy boy! Fan favorite, hell yeah. So, before we go into what I would like to see in the future... the plots for Battle for Azeroth, like, a lot of people ask me, like, how could it end? Cinematic-wise, the thing that I want to see is Azeroth waking up, and she leaves a shell behind, so that we still have a planet to play on. A planet that is utterly fucked, don't get me wrong, but still a planet. And Azeroth is like half perfection and beautiful, and then half gory and void-esque. Because as much as we tried, we still focused on fighting one another, we just fucked her over, right? And then the Titan turns around to her planet, and she grabs Sargeras' sword, and she's like, oh, I'm ready to annihilate all of y'all. But just before she's ready to slice the planet like Sargeras did in the past, guess who shows up again? That's right, it's Sargeras! Hey, good job! Sargeras shows up because Sargeras' whole motivation of forming the Burning Legion to be corrupt and be like, oh, everybody must die, is because he feared a corrupted Titan. But according to all sources, Azeroth is the last Titan out there. So we wake her up, and, you know, slap some sense into her and be like, hello, we're the good guys. They could have, like, this battle in the sky where they fight one another, and Illidan is, like, sitting on Sargeras' shoulder, whispering sweet, lovely thing in his ear, like, you can do it, baby, you can do it. And then he hops over to Azeroth and is like, you are not prepared! And then she goes like, plung! That's what I would like to see. Cinematic-wise, anyways, and then the Pantheon shows up, and they do, like, this massive cleansing ritual, and then Azeroth is cleansed and grown, and she's there, and she's ready, rumored to be even more powerful than Sargeras himself, and we're ready to take on the Void Lords in the Great Dark Beyond. That would be my cinematic, beautiful, oh my god ending. That would be it. If we're talking gameplay-wise, if we're talking about what would I like to see for the next expansion, we know that N'Zoth is out there right now. We know that N'Zoth is free out of his prison. And the next chapter of the storyline is going to focus on Sylvanas. Take her down, take her out, whatever. She realizes she's been duped by the Void Lords, or she sacrificed herself, whatever. The point where we need to go is N'Zoth goes out and he recruits his old god buddies. Goofing, massive headache, right? Lost a couple of tentacles, but, you know, it's fine. Yogg-Saron still chilling in Ulduar, and N'Zoth is like, hey, what up, bro? You want to be free? And then together they rise up. And that's going to be introduction cinematic for the next expansion. They rise up and it's just Black Empire splooging across the world. And we lose. We lose the battle for Azeroth. That's something that I would love to see. And then in the next expansion, they could do a time jump, right? But at the same time, they could just leave it be. And in the next expansion, sort of like how they broke Cataclysm, where the world was like sundered apart. Now it's like the old gods rule the planet, and every single zone has been fucked over, and we need to find some way to regain control again. Maybe we can't. GG. The end. Those would be my favorite endings, but again, the path they can take, the ending is still unwritten, and they can still take it in so many cool storylines. Avenger Infinity War. Exactly! And you know what then happens? Because we fucked up, and we can't win this time. You know what happens? Nosdormu happens. Nosdormu is forced to sacrifice himself. He knows that if he abuses his power to change fate in the official timeline, he will become Muruzand and create the infinite dragonflight. But for the sake of all the people in the world, he will do it. Creating that loop of the infinite dragonflight and all the shit that happens. But we get a chance. We get the party with motherfucking Nosdormu and we go into alternate realities. And you might say, but what about Waters of Draenor, right? Waters of Draenor sucked. But alternate reality does not mean that the expansion has to suck. Waters of Draenor sucked because there was only Garrison in there. You could do so many cool situations in which Thrall never broke out of Durnhold and he's still under the rule of Blackmoor. Or reality where Arthas and Jaina married and had lots of babies and then dominated the world. Or reality where Anduin and Rephion hooked up and had a lot of dragonkin. Any kind of situation you could go to, right? And we create the infinite dragonflight, and we find some way of fixing the mess that we made in our reality, and it's gonna be great. Yeah. Too much work. Gotta make them world quest. Legion had a predictable ending. The beauty of Battle for Azeroth was unpredictable. I don't know if he actually... I personally did not predict to go to Argus. When they announced Argus, I was very surprised that they actually announced Argus. That they decided in that expansion to actually go to the planet and party there. First acts were created by the Titans/Titan Keepers, who transformed the Proto-Drakes into proper dragons. So, what we see here is the cosmic chart in World of Warcraft, but different powers, yeah? When it comes to future storytelling, it is a fantasy storyline. They can keep the story and the Warcraft franchise going for as long as they can. From the top of my head, some of the storylines that are brewing still in WoW is, of course, Rephion's make a return, we all know that. Kalia Menethil is out there. There is the whole Vol'jin Shadowlands storyline, but those seem to be things that are gonna happen right now. Infinite Dragonflight could be a thing for the future. Apparently the Dragon Isles are a thing that could be a thing for the future. There is still the Hindreds, maybe not, other side of Azeroth they could play around with. There are the Void Lords. There is the Great Dark Beyond, which is pretty much space. We've explored we've explored 2 planets. Argus and Draenor/Outland. There are alternate realities they could play around with. There's a whole lot of storylines they could keep going for as long as they want. Now, when it comes to the story in Warcraft, when I started out my little YouTube channel, this was before the Chronicles. Pretty much any and all storyline, if you try to trace it back to its source, you would end up with either the Old Gods, the Burning Legion, and or the Titans. Now, the Burning Legion has been taken care of. Sure enough, there are still demons out there, there's still Sargeras out there, but the faction known as the Burning Legion has been defeated, right? When it comes to the Old Gods, we dealt with Kafun, we dealt with Yaxaran, now N'Zoth is free. Maybe the other Old Gods are gonna come back, maybe not. We kinda dealt with that. And we also saw the Pantheon, we saw the Titans. Cool. So, we've kinda hit every single pillar in the lore. Now, what I would like to see them do is, and that is something like, it feels like blue balling. It feels like, where is my resolution and my conclusion to the storyline? Yet at the same time, they need build-up in order to create delivery, right? And I feel that that is what Battle for Azeroth is doing right now, building up. And what I would like to see is them breaking those pillars apart and instead draw inspiration from this cosmic chart. Now, we look at it. We can see that there is a section of necromantic, undead, and death, right? So that would be Bonsandi, Lich King, Kel'Thuzad, Sylvanas, the Valkyr, Nephanos, Forsaken, Everything undead would go into that chapter. But what is the source behind it? And Bonsamdi mentions a boss. Is there a source behind that, perhaps? Is there, like, a boss that we could face and confront? When we look at, for example, the Titans, we know that there's the Pantheon at the end of the chart, right? We know that the Pantheon is there. When we look at the Old Gods, what once was assumed that the Old Gods were like the all-powerful, all-bees knees, oh my god, they are the freaking Old Gods. We learn that the Old Gods are merely minions from the Void Lords. So what exactly is the source behind the element and the spirit of life? What is the source behind the light? Is it a loon, perhaps, like some are speculating? What is the source behind light? Behind fel and disorder? Is there like a massive force behind it? I would like them to take this cosmic chart and use it as a foundation to build upon more storylines. And we kind of get a sense of that. For example, in the light direction, we now see a much more dominant, demanding force in the form of the alternate reality, where Yirl and the Draenei are prosecuting the orcs, and the Naru are like, you better accept this bargain, and Illidan is like, I am my scars, and just blows up the Naru, right? So the light has been given more attention. And I would like them to take this chart and just build more storylines upon it. Will they, won't they? Maybe, who knows? But I feel like this chart right here is an excellent building block for storylines in the future, besides just the Pantheon, the Old Gods, and the Burning Legion. Where's Elune in this chart? She's not on it. So where would you place her? Would she go in the section of the original lights? Would she go in the section of Order and the Titans? Would she be all-consuming, all-powerful? Because Elune has multiple states, right? Light, dark, Night Warrior. Where does Elune fit in? How does she have a connection to the Well of Eternity, and did she talk to the Night Elves? Who knows? Ultimately, both the Void and the Light seek to spread their influence just through different meanings. No. Yes and no. The Void's ultimate goal is to consume. Whereas the Light has never shown that they want to consume all life in the physical universe. So that's when people are like wondering, like, who would you sign up with? Especially when the Naru were a lot more dominant, and people are like, oh look, the Naru also have a dark side, which is true. Not in all cases, but you know, the Naru are not perfect. Yet at the same time, it still beats the hell out of it than signing up a team of Void Lords Old Gods who just want to consume me. You might remember how they treated Deathwing at the alternate reality where he actually accomplished their plans. He was just spiked up on a tower, right? And I still very much appreciate that the question as to what is Elune is still unanswered. There are still more surprises and mysteries and questions to be answered in the Warcraft universe, which I'm looking forward to. Elune is just a fragment of Azeroth, as the moon is a fragment of the earth? Maybe. Or Elune is the true deity of WoW. Elune is in all of us. Or in none of us. Who knows? Let me also turn on the notifications again, because I think we've been talking about lore for a deliciously huge amount of time. I love it. Yeah, I just wanted to sit down and actually talk about these things because a lot of people have been asking about it. I'll probably upload this as a highlight to YouTube as well. Make it like a stream highlight in case people want to listen back to it. See me rant and go crazy and be like over the top and shit. But this is the shit I get passionate about, man. I love it.